Welcome to Not Your Average Counsellor, the space where we tackle the unfiltered, often messy realities of love, relationships, and human connection. I'm V. Vinci, and I am not your run-of-the-mill counsellor. With over a decade of experience working with clients and my own lived experiences to draw from, I help people all their hidden parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because only when we face our truth can we step into our most authentic selves. This series, Messy Truths, is where we dive headfirst into the things we're all thinking, but nobody's brave enough to say out loud. You know, those 2 a.m. thoughts that make you question everything about your relationship, your choices, your sanity. We're breaking down the tough questions people are often afraid to ask. The ones that make you squirm, laugh nervously, and then immediately text your friend saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that episode?" We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and social dynamics at play. Have you ever wondered if it's manipulative to use your partner's insecurities to win arguments? Or questioned whether you should stay with someone who refuses to work on their mental health? If you've ever found yourself thinking, is it selfish to not want children when my partner desperately does? Or should I fake orgasms to protect my partner's feelings? You're not alone, and you're definitely in the right place. No sugarcoating, no cliches, just honest conversations about the messy, complicated, sometimes hilarious reality of being human in relationships. This is where your inside thoughts finally get their moment in the spotlight. Let's get uncomfortable together. Hello, I'm V. Vinci. Welcome back to Not Your Average Counsellor. Today, we're diving into one of the most confronting crossroads a couple can face. Is it selfish to not want children when your partner desperately does? This is one of those questions that doesn't just touch the surface of a relationship. It cuts straight into the core of who you are. It's not about preferences. It's not about compromise. It's not even about logistics. This is identity level conflict. It's values, purpose, meaning, and the future you both imagined colliding in a way that forces you to confront truths you might have been avoiding for years. When one partner wants children and the other doesn't, it doesn't just create tension, it creates an existential crisis. It forces both people to look at themselves, their past, their fears, their dreams, and their sense of who they are in the world. And the truth is, most couples are not emotionally prepared for how deep this conversation goes. They think they're talking about kids, but they're actually talking about identity, autonomy, trauma, belonging, legacy, and the life that they may be afraid to lose. For the partner who wants children, the desire is rarely casual. It's often tied to a vision of family that they've held since childhood. Maybe they grew up imagining themselves as parent. Maybe they come from a culture where family is everything. Maybe they've always pictured Christmas morning with kids running around, or imagined that what their child might look like, or felt a deep longing to nurture and raise someone. For some people, wanting children is tied to purpose. It's tied to legacy. It's tied to the belief that life is meant to be shared and passed on. It can be tied to the idea that family is the ultimate expression of love. And for some, it's tied to biology. The awareness that time is not infinite, that fertility is not guaranteed, that waiting too long could close a door that they desperately want to walk through. For others, it's tied to healing. They want to give a child the childhood that they never had. They want to break generational patterns. They want to rewrite their story through parenting. They want to create something better than what they've come from. For the partner who doesn't want children, the reasons are just as deep, but often very misunderstood. Not wanting kids isn't about being cold or selfish. It's about identity too. It's about lifestyle. It's about autonomy. It's about emotional readiness. It can be about financial reality, and it's about mental health. It's about trauma. It's about knowing what you can and cannot give. Some people don't want children because they know they wouldn't thrive as parents. Some people don't want to repeat the patterns that they grew up with. Some don't want to lose themselves. Some don't want the responsibility or the pressure. Some people just simply don't feel the desire, and that alone is enough. And here's the part that people don't talk about. Not wanting children is just as valid as wanting them. Both are rooted in truth. Both are rooted in self-awareness. Both are rooted in lived experience. Neither is wrong, but the mismatch between them can be devastating. This is where the fantasy of love should conquer all. Smashes into the reality of I can't live a life that isn't mine. This is my entire Disney concept. Love is powerful, but it is not a substitute for compatibility. It cannot override biology. It cannot override identity. It cannot override values. It can't override the truth of who you are. And it can't override the truth of who your partner is. Now, here's what it looks like in everyday life. One partner is imagining baby names, prams, and future Christmas mornings. They're imagining school drop-offs, family holidays, tiny shoes by the door. They're imagining the life that they've always pictured. The other picture is imagining losing their freedom, their mental health, or a life that they've worked hard to build. They're imagining exhaustion, overwhelm, financial strain, or a version of themselves that they don't want to become. They're imagining a life that feels like a cage instead of a choice. For the partner who wants children, there's often a deep grief, grieving a family that may never exist. It can feel like rejection. It can sound like, why don't you want a family with me? Am I not enough? Do you not see a future with me? It can stir up fears about time running out or being left behind while friends start families. It can feel like watching the life you imagine slowly slip away while the person you love stands still. And it can feel deeply like betrayal, not because your partner is doing something wrong, but because their truth doesn't match your dream. For the partner who doesn't want children, there is often enormous guilt, a fear of being seen as cold or selfish or broken. There's the internal tug of war between staying true to themselves and not wanting to break someone's heart. So they may think, what if I regret having kids? What if I regret not having them? Am I ruining their life? Am I ruining mine? They may feel like the villain in a story that they never asked to be in. They may feel like they're disappointing someone they love simply by being who they are. And they may feel trapped between their truth and their fear of hurting someone else. And here's the part that people rarely admit. Both partners often feel alone in it. The one who wants the kids feels unseen. The one who doesn't want kids feels misunderstood. Both feel like they're carrying the emotional weight of the relationship. Both feel like they're the one who has to sacrifice something enormous. And both feel like they're the ones who might lose everything. People stay in this dynamic often for a very long time, sometimes years, because they hope the other person will change their mind. They're terrified of regret. They love each other deeply. They don't want to start over. They're scared of hurting each other. They're scared of being alone. They're scared of making the wrong choice. So they stay, they wait, they hope, they avoid the conversation, and they often minimize the issue. And they tell themselves it will just work itself out. They tell themselves that love will be enough. But here's the danger. When you ignore a fundamental incompatibility, it doesn't disappear. It just goes underground. And underground issues grow teeth. Resentment builds, pressure builds, emotional withdrawal creeps in. You start having the same argument in different forms. You start feeling the tension in silence. You start noticing the distance, and you start feeling the weight of the unspoken truth. I've seen couples where one partner eventually gives in and has kids that they never wanted. And the resentment leaks out in subtle ways for years. It shows up in irritability, in disengagement, in emotional distance, in burnout, in quiet bitterness. I've also seen couples where the partner who wanted kids stays, hoping, waiting, and eventually realizing that they've lost the time that they can't get back. They realize that they compromised on something that they couldn't afford to compromise on. They realize they betrayed themselves in the name of love. Love alone cannot fix this one. And that's the part that people don't want to admit. We're taught that love is enough, that love conquers all, that love can overcome anything. But love cannot do that. It cannot override the truth of two people's different value sets, decisions, and choices. So let's tackle the big question head on. Is it selfish to not want children when your partner does? Here's the truth. Selfishness and self-honesty are not the same thing. Wanting to live a life aligned with your truth is absolutely not selfish. It's responsible. Forcing yourself to meet someone else's dream is what leads to bitterness later. And here's the part people don't like to say out loud. Sometimes the most compassionate choice is to walk away. Not because you don't love them, but because you do. Staying and hoping the issue magically resolves is what causes the deepest wounds. A healthy resolution isn't about convincing, persuading, or negotiating someone into a life that they don't want. It looks like honest, calm conversations, not debates. Naming fears, values, and hopes without shame. Seeking therapy to unpack guilt, grief, or pressure, and accepting that love may not be enough to bridge this gap. Healthy resolution is clarity, not compromise, because this is not a meet-in-the-middle issue. You can't have half a child. You can't parent halfway. You can't unhave a child once they exist. This is one of the few relationship issues where incompatibility is real, immovable, and life-altering. And here's the deeper truth. Choosing not to have children doesn't make you selfish. It makes you self-aware. The tragedy isn't in the choice itself. The tragedy is in pretending that love can erase a fundamental difference in life direction. Sometimes the most loving act is to let each other go so both of you can live a life that's true. Now, this has been probably a much deeper episode than I've had in a little while. So I want to thank you for being here with me today. But also, if this episode has stirred something in you, sit with it a little bit. These are conversations that shape the trajectory of our lives. Come find me on socials or email or however you want to find me, and tell me what resonated or challenged you, or if you just need to reach out to go, man, that really affected me and I need to come and unpack that. Knock yourself out. Come on in. And if someone in your world needs this perspective, I want you to share it with them. So take care of yourself and remember, love is powerful, but it cannot rewrite who you are. I'll see you on the flip side. One of my big goals for this year is to get this podcast into the ears of more people who genuinely need it. So if this episode has made you think, feel, or see things a little differently, I need to ask you a favour. Follow it, rate it, leave a comment or share it with someone who might need it too. The more you pay it forward, the more I get to keep doing what I do and hopefully help a few more people along the way. And don't stop there. Be sure to tag me at @VVincieTherapist so that I can see and connect with you. I love hearing your thoughts and takeaways, so my inbox is always open. DM me anytime. Thanks again for listening. I'll catch you next time.